The following video you are about to see is made by fallible Christians.
Although we diligently seek to represent the God of the Bible accurately, please understand that we are still being sanctified.
For absolute truth, please refer to the Bible.
Pause here to read Bible verses relevant to this.
Hey everybody, I'm Devin and this is my beautiful bride Amber.
We're a married interabled couple here to reveal or remind you that you're complete in Jesus Christ alone.
So what's the topic of the day, baby cakes?
The rainbow.
The rainbow?
Yes, so this is a topic that should not be controversial.
But yet is at the same time.
It is, yes. And that is because the sinful condition of
the world.
Yes, and of human nature because of the fall.
Yes.
3. But anyway, we're not talking about the fall specifically today.
Well, we always mention, I feel like, in every
So anyway, the meaning of the rainbow is on Devin's shirt, and just below it is a little bit of flour because he was baking bread. So don't mind the flour. Didn't feel like taking the time to wash it after that. So
no.
Anyway, now you know what he was doing before this. Okay.
Yep. Let's read the verses. Genesis chapter 9, verses 11 through 13. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is a sign of the covenant that I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you. For all future generations, I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth.
And we've mentioned this before in the previous video about the flood. But just to reiterate one more time, if it was not a global flood, then this passage that we just read right here, God would have broke this promise over and over again, because there are constantly in various places local floods.
Yeah.
So this just again goes to show that it doesn't make sense to say it was not a global flood.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, we already made a video about the flood.
You should go watch that.
Yes, we'll link that here. So the second verse about the flood that we're going to discuss
is a lot less known.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 28. Like the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud on the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness all around. Such was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard the voice of the one speaking.
So even apart from the covenant with Noah, the rainbow represents God's power and glory and all of that. And there is more verses in Revelation. We're not going to go through all of those. If you want to check them out, you can do that yourself. But anyway, so this is what the rainbow actually represents, and what it always will represent, no matter how much the world or Satan or whoever
tries to distort it from its original meaning.
Yes, it will always have that original
meaning because it was given by God for all time.
Yes, and when we take his symbol and distort it to mean something sinful.
When we distort things, it takes away from the glory of God.
So what we shouldn't be doing is taking a beautiful symbol that God created to glorify himself. We shouldn't be taking that as a symbol of rebellion against him, because that's really what is going on here.
Yes, and we're taking away the glory that belongs to him.
Yes. The thing that's ironic and sad at the same time is they're using this symbol as a symbol of freedom, pride, and love, when really freedom, pride, and love can only actually be found in Christ.
Yes. Yeah, through salvation in Christ Jesus alone is the only way we can truly feel love and peace
Yes.
that will last for not only this life, but for eternity.
True freedom can never be found in sin. Only true freedom can be found in Christ. You can't serve two masters, as it says in Matthew chapter 6.
Verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just read it. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money.
See, and yes, the example here was money, but you could really exchange money for
anything.
Any
sin.
Any sin, or even some things that aren't necessarily sinful, such as disability.
Yeah.
Some people really find their identity in disability. We talked about that last week, but I think even more so when we find our identity in sin, there's something, again, like rebellious to God about that, because he doesn't even want us to find our identity in things that aren't necessarily sinful, such as money. Money in and of itself is not a sin.
No.
But if you're, like it was saying, you can't be devoted to both.
Yes. Choose this day whom you will serve.
Yes. So we're going to attempt to summarize this next point quickly, although probably a whole video could be made about that.
Oh, yeah.
So there are some questions.
There are some Christians.
Yeah. Who, we say Christians loosely.
Yeah, we do.
Because,
we really need to define our terms on that.
Yes. Some, have very hateful attitudes towards people either struggling, trying to break free from this sin, or even who are actively proud of it. We still shouldn't be hateful towards anybody. We shouldn't be wishing anyone to die or anything like that. I've heard some horrendous stuff. That is not acceptable, and that's not even Christian-like. Now, there is a difference between just saying, hey, I'm concerned about you because I see you in this sin and I want you to be reconciled to God. That is actually a very loving, incredibly loving thing to do. And we should be so thankful when there is someone in our life who will do that for us. But there's a big difference between that and being hateful.
Yes.
And just because somebody is pointing out, hey, this is a sin, please stop. If you accuse them of being hateful, that's like a cloak that people use. Well, you're just judging me.
Yeah.
That's because you're loving your sin more than you're loving God.
Yes.
And that excuse is not going to fly on Judgment Day.
No.
It's just not.
As we explained in our Intro to Biblical Sexuality video, homosexuality is a sin because it defiles God's picture for marriage and intimacy as a picture of Christ in the church.
And there are many people who will say, homosexuality, that word's not in the Bible, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be.
No.
Because the definition of marriage is there. Anything outside of marriage, between a man and a woman, is a defilement of really the picture of the gospel. Because in marriage, the husband represents Christ and the wife represents the church. So you can't take Christ in Christ or the church in church and get the gospel. It just doesn't represent the gospel. And a lot of people would be offended at this, but there is no such thing as gay marriage. It's just, by very definition, it's not marriage. So when you say, well, should we have the right to get married? It's just not marriage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We can call it marriage, but,
but
it's not a biblical marriage.
And And God's the one that invented marriage.
Yes.
So just by very definition, it is not that.
Yes.
And we get the very definition of marriage in Genesis 2:24. And again, we explained all this in our biblical sexuality video.
Which you should go watch also.
Yeah. So I don't think as Christians we need to totally just dispose of the rainbow, never use it at all. But I do think there is wisdom to being very intentional about our uses of the rainbow. For example, I wouldn't post, personally, I would not post a picture of the rainbow and then in the caption put love. And that's it, not put anything else, because where is that going to lead people's minds to?
Yes.
You know, most likely they're going to associate that with a specific thing. And the last thing I want people to do is think that I'm approving of something that dishonors God.
Yes.
So we would encourage you to just be intentional about your use of the rainbow. Such as this shirt, for an example. It's very clear, you know, that we're pointing to the biblical meaning of the shirt. Or another beautiful example is the Ark Encounter. They light it up with rainbow colors. The owner, CEO, Ken Ham, yeah, he got a lot of flack for that. Is that the right word, flack?
Flack.
Pushback, whatever you want to call it. But and we're actually going to link an article below about that, because honestly, he does a way better job at explaining this than we do.
He's so good at it. He's a professional at it.
Yeah, this is what he
does
all the time. So we would encourage you to go check out his stuff. And we hope you had grace for us tackling this. This was not an easy video to film.
No.
So thank you so much for watching, and
we hope you found this video edifying.
Yes. We do, no matter what, want to stand on biblical truth.
Yes.
And we want to do that in love, but also
in truth.
Truthfully. We don't want to compromise truth.
No.
So, again, we hope you found this video edifying. If you do feel led to support our ministry, we do have a link down below. And thank you guys so much.
Bye.